Welcome inside Schottenstein Center, where Jake Diebler was just introduced as the new head coach of Ohio State's men's basketball program. We got to hear from Jake Diebler, got to hear from Ross Bjork. We were able to talk to some former players here as well. Andy, just what are your biggest takeaways from today?
Yeah, I think for all the doubts about experience with Jake that some fans may have, I think for at least Ross Bjork, I took away how confident he was that this is the right move for Ohio State because of what he feels is Jake's leadership ability in interviews, what he's shown through these 8 games as interim head coach. Now full-time head coach, obviously that interim tag's been dropped, but what he's shown in those first 8 games. I think there's a lot of support from former players is the indication we got for this move, that Jake, his ability to relate to people, to donors, to those former players, to his current players, getting them maximizing their talents. And that relatability piece, I think, is a big reason of why he was able to land this job and why he could be successful at it, Dan. There's a lot to be seen with Jake as he's going to navigate his first offseason and as he's going to prepare for his first full season as head coach. But, I think there was clearly a lot of confidence from Ross Bjork's side about this hire.
Yeah, and I was able to talk to Michael Redd, Lawrence Funderburk, Brad Sellers, Ronnie Stokes, who were among about 15 or 20 former players here. Aaron Kraft was here as well. And you got the sense from all of them, too, that they are very happy about this hire. A lot of them have known Jake Diebler for a long time because Jake Diebler has had multiple stints in this program as an assistant. Of course, his younger brother, John Diebler, played for the Buckeyes. So the Diebler family is very well known by people who have been around this program, and I think that makes them very comfortable with Jake. And the big thing you consistently hear about Jake is how authentic he is, that he's a guy. He loves his family. He talked about his faith today. I think he's somebody who's very grounded in who he is, and I think that's something that people really appreciate about Jake is, he's someone who doesn't come across like he's trying to be somebody he's not. He's just trying to be who he is. And Ross Bjork and Ohio State believes that him just being who he is what this program needs, and they feel like the lack of experience he might have might be made up for by the fact that he is a younger guy who can really relate to the players. And they've made it clear, that their expectation is to win a championship. I asked Ross Bjork, what's the standard here? And he thinks Ohio State should be contending for Big Ten championships every year. And if they're doing that, they're going to be in the NCAA tournament and have a chance to make a run here. So they've made it clear, the expectations are nothing less than the highest of success with Jake Diebler.
Yeah, Jake made it clear too that he's in alignment with Ross on those expectations, said specifically that Ohio State is the best of the best from an athletics perspective, and he's going to do everything in his power to get the basketball program to align with that expectation. So both an acknowledgement that Ohio State hasn't been where it needs to be in terms of basketball the last few seasons, and that Jake is going to do everything he can to get it going. His approach, I think that we've seen these first 8 games from him as a coach is what his approach is going to look like long-term, too, when you talk about really building it around the connection that he facilitates through that authenticity to his players. I think that's what's made him. He's been a very successful recruiter as an assistant coach, even back before his time at Ohio State. Helped recruit Darius Garland for you Cavs fans out there. I'm sure you're familiar with that name. But also, at Ohio State, was Chris Holtman's lead recruiter, landing back-to-back number 8 recruiting classes in the country. And that relatability, that recruiting ability is obviously going to serve him well in this head coaching role, but then building that community, that family, as he described it, within the program is going to get the most out of his players. And team chemistry is very important in basketball, Dan. This is a sport where a lot of possessions, everyone's touching the ball, you're moving it around. So that is a culture that can be very helpful to build within a program, and I think that's a lot of what Jake is going to base it around. Not a lot of specifics to talk about yet because they still have more season to play here. We did get some clarification in terms of staff movement with Jack Owens. Chris Holtman saying Jack Owens is going to be joining him at DePaul in his own press conference today over there. But as Jake looks to build this program out here, maximizing his own strengths, trying to figure out where he can address his weaknesses on the staff is going to be important in getting that family environment.
Well, as you can see behind us, they're getting the court ready for an NIT game here at Bashot tomorrow night. So we got to get out of here. But stay tuned with us on 11warriors.com. We will have a lot more coverage to come of Jake Diebler being hired as Ohio State's new head coach.